Qin Miao discovered that he had the talent to become a top esports driver. Because he only took some time to play with the simulator during the college entrance examination, he was surprised to find that he had the ability to compete with other professional esports drivers. You should know that he has this ability just by playing casually. If he focuses on practicing, Qin Miao will definitely have an infinite future on the road of esports drivers. Qin Miao has prepared to take the path of an esports driver if he fails the college entrance examination. But on an extremely ordinary day, Qin Miao obtained the system. However, Qin Miao still has a clear idea in his heart that even if he obtains the system, he is unlikely to become an official F1 driver. Because he was already 19 years old when he obtained the system, and Qin Miao had never been exposed to anything related to racing before the age of 19. 2 years later. Xiao Zhou. Without a doubt, Qin Miao is a very talented driver, but I feel that racing is just a profession for him. His true hobbies are driving live broadcasts and playing games. Lu Ko. Qin. Kimi is just the second generation. But then again, he played CSGO really well, and he brought my big Earth with him. Old man. Qin is a pure person, his only life is racing. And electronic games. Dutch White-Eyed Wolf. I have nothing to say about him. Be he. Whenever he spends half of his gaming time on emulators, his achievements now go far beyond that. Horner. I really admire Qin. He is a natural F1 driver and a pure person. I really hope he can join Red Bull and become one of us. Novel keyword. How did I become an F1 driver? How could I become an F1 driver without a pop-up window? How did I become an F1 driver after downloading the complete set of TXT? Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Summer vacation after graduation from senior high school. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Summer vacation after graduation from senior high school. Taking out the steering wheel from the direct drive motor, taking off the white protective gloves, and rubbing his slightly sore arm, Qin Miao reluctantly leaned against the seat behind him. Just now Qin Miao participated in an ACC, Divine Power COSA Strive, esports competition. Although the collision occurred during the race due to aggressive driving, and the car also suffered damage to the right front wheel due to this collision, resulting in a right deviation. However, Qin Miao persevered through the race with strong perseverance and almost demon-like control over the car. However, due to the car damage, coupled with his use of simulators as a form of entertainment, and due to academic issues, Qin Miao did not have extra time to practice, so his performance after running the race was not very ideal. Opening the barrage in the live broadcast room, Qin Miao said to the second-hand camera he had picked up from the scrap station, "This wave of mine, that overtaking was too aggressive. If there were no car damage, I would have confidence to make it into the top 10. However, there was no response from anyone in his live broadcast room. Qin Miao is not surprised. After all, it is normal for a live streamer who doesn't have many live broadcasts throughout the year to have no one watching. In addition, he is not playing popular FPS games, but rather a racing simulator with extremely high entry barriers. The audience is very small, and it is not normal for someone to watch from a first-person perspective when running a race. That's all for today, I'm off." After speaking, Qin Miao immediately disconnected the streaming in the live broadcast room and turned off the computer. At this moment, the sky outside the window had gradually darkened, and outside the door, my mother's voice rang out. "Sanshui, let's eat now." Qin Miao responded, "Okay." After responding to his mother, Qin Miao walked out of the room. "Wash your face and then take it to the table. Today, we had fried rice with eggs for dinner. The lunch we didn't finish at noon was just a good use of it. In addition, 2 ordinary home-cooked dishes, although not luxurious and sumptuous, are also full of warmth from home. Although there are no rules when Qin Miao eats at home, the two of them do not chat during meals. After finishing the meal, Qin Miao washed the dishes and cleaned the table before returning to the room. Without turning on the computer as usual, Qin Miao lay on the bed and took out his phone to check WeChat. The screen on WeChat on the phone is the same as what Qin Miao saw before the competition started, without any changes. The last message was sent by Qin Miao. Is it there? It has been almost 4 hours and the other party still hasn't replied. But at this moment, Qin Miao was still eagerly waiting for the person across the chat box to give him a reply, and every reply from the other person would make Qin Miao happy for half a day. Most boys in their adolescence are in this state. However, some things were destined to disappoint him, and until Qin Miao went to bed, there was no reply from the other party in the chat box, as if they had forgotten about him. Before going to bed, Qin Miao took a last glance at WeChat and exhaled before turning off her phone. The next day, Qin Miao got up early from the bed, and his mother had just woken up. I noticed that Qin Miao had surprisingly woken up so early today, and curiously asked, "Why did you wake up so early today?" Qin Miao replied, "I'm getting tired of playing computer games, I'm going out to play." Mom nodded and said, "Yes, it's not good to be stuck in the house all this time. Where are you going to play? Do you want me to drop you off by the way?" "No need, it's just over at the school, not too far. I'll just go by bike." Mom looked at the time and then said, "Then I'll make you some breakfast." Due to Qin Miao's high-intensity computer play every night after the college entrance examination, she has not woken up before 11 a.m. since the holiday, and her mother naturally did not prepare breakfast for Qin Miao. "No need, just grab some food on the way when I go," Qin Miao replied casually. After listening to this, my mother only reminded Qin Miao to pay attention to his own safety, and then continue to eat breakfast. Qin Miao changed his shoes, picked up the bicycle key, and walked out the door. Today his destination is a go-kart parlor near his high school. Due to various reasons during his 3 years in high school, Qin Miao, who was extremely fond of racing, did not actually have any exposure to real-life racing, even go-karts. However, due to the fact that this go-kart shop is located near the school, many of the classmates in the class had conversations from this go-kart shop, which caused Qin Miao to lose a lot of conversation time with his classmates and could only listen on the side. But now that Qin Miao has graduated from high school, she happens to have enough time to have fun. In addition, Qin Miao had been playing computer games almost day and night recently, which made him a bit bored. So Qin Miao decided to come out and relax his tense nerves, while also exercising his already stiff body. Qin Miao's school is not far from home, and she usually only walks for half an hour. Riding a bicycle, Qin Miao only took 10 minutes to reach the go-kart hall. After locking the bike with a tree on the roadside, Qin Miao took out his mobile phone and glanced at the balance on Alipay, then walked to the go-kart hall with excitement and trepidation. After arriving at the entrance of the go-kart hall, a basin of cold water poured down immediately. Due to Qin Miao's early arrival, the go-kart hall didn't even open. After checking the time, Qin Miao decided to go to the breakfast stand near the school where he often goes to have something to eat. It was about an hour before the go-kart shop opened. Although the college entrance examination has ended, middle school and first and second year high school students do not have summer vacation, so the breakfast stall in front of the school is still open normally. After ordering his favorite dish of rice noodles, Qin Miao brought a bottle of mineral water to the front of the go-kart hall. Taking out his phone and squatting on the steps of the go-kart hall, Qin Miao opened WeChat. The message left on the chat interface is still the one sent by Qin Miao last night, but the other party did not reply. Qin Miao didn't care either and tentatively sent a self-perceived appropriate greeting to the person on the other end of the phone. "Good morning, are you up yet?" The other party's attitude towards Qin Miao remained unchanged. "Maybe it's just that I haven't gotten up yet," Qin Miao thought so in his heart. However, just as Qin Miao was comforting herself, QQ suddenly rang. Pop up a message. "Good morning, NT desk mate. Have you woken up yet?" The note from the person who sent the message here with Qin Miao is brain disabled desk mate. This person's name is Chiu Meng. They sat at the same table with Qin Miao for 2.5 years in high school, until the last semester of their third year, when they separated to sprint for the college entrance examination. Chiu Meng was originally a very gentle person. During the time when she first met Qin Miao, she was mostly quiet and gentle, and she didn't even know how to curse. But closer to the red, closer to the ink, closer to the black. After sitting at the same table with Qin Miao for so many years, this girl has been ruined by Qin Miao's hands. I don't know when Chiu Meng started chatting with Qin Miao, and it was a cerebral palsy. Feeling somewhat melancholy, Qin Miao opened the chat box with his desk mate and said, "Get up, what's going on?" There was no courtesy on the other side either. "Have you read the news in the class group?" Qin Miao was a bit puzzled and said, "I didn't see it." "What's the news?" "We're going to have a dinner together." "Didn't we get together when we just graduated?" The other side replied triumphantly, "I knew you didn't look. Today, the class monitor and his team are planning to take us to the go-kart shop near the school to play with the go-kart, and it will be treated by the class monitor and deputy class monitor. Free, are you coming or not?" Asterisk. Qin Miao stared at the words that had sprouted in autumn and froze in place. A bit stiff, he looked up at the sign of the Against the Wind Entertainment Kart Racing Arena behind him, and then lowered his head to look at the news on his phone. "The sound in my mind is, whine." Qin Miao replied with some uncertainty, "Is that one near our school?" "Yes, there's only one place nearby where you can go karting, and it's also near the school, so it's convenient for students to come over. But don't worry, I have already helped NT desk mate register with the class monitor *Omega, Qin Miao. Don't be late. I'll set off first." After a brief moment of daze, Qin Miao instantly became energized. Because he found another piece of news in Chiu Meng's words, which is that inviting classmates to the go-kart hall this time is for the class monitor and deputy class monitor to treat. This means that the deputy class monitor will also come. And the person that Qin Miao couldn't forget was the deputy class monitor Fan Yu. Since it's the class monitor and deputy class monitor treating the guests, there's no reason why they shouldn't come to the scene. Although even if the deputy squad leader arrived at the scene, with Qin Miao's courage, he couldn't muster the courage to go forward and say even one or two words to Fan Yu. Most of the time, Qin Miao was still watching from a distance, and if Fan Yu could come and talk to him for a few words, it would make him feel anxious and fearful for a long time. "I'll go check in the group." Qin Miao opened the 99+ class group that he hadn't seen for a long time. As it was in the morning, there were not many students waking up at this time, and no one was chatting in the class group. The final message was sent out at 2 a.m. this morning. Qin Miao flipped up and quickly found the chat record that Chiu Meng had mentioned. "Fan Yu and I have discussed and decided to invite our classmates to go to the kart house near the school for a day tomorrow. We will treat each other. This is Zhu Hong from the class monitor. Yes, it will be difficult to gather everyone like this in the future. This is deputy class leader Fan Yu. Just taking advantage of this opportunity to gather again at the end, we also prepared a little surprise for our classmates. The first one to emerge is Chiu Meng." Alright. I'll sign up. By the way, I'll drop in Qin Miao. The class monitor is grand. Unfortunately, I have to travel abroad with my family tomorrow, and there's really nothing I can do. Hey. I happen to have nothing to do tomorrow. I haven't played for a long time and my hands are a bit itchy. Thank you to the class monitor first. Class monitor is amazing, +1, +10086, okay, let's meet at the go-kart hall tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. After confirming that what Chiu Meng said was true, Qin Miao jumped up from the steps. Due to jumping too hard, he almost fell off the steps in front of the go-kart hall. Fortunately, when he was young, Qin Miao's body was also relatively thin, and he struggled to control his own body. But after excitement, all that remained was worrying about gains and losses. I didn't even prepare for a gathering with my classmates today, so when I went out, I just wiped my face with some water as usual and didn't even take care of my hair. The clothes were also very ordinary, just shorts and a t-shirt. I wore a pair of 6-month-old Velcro canvas shoes on my feet, and it was a bit dusty because I didn't clean them very well. This outfit will make Qin Miao feel a bit embarrassed among her classmates. Just as Qin Miao was hesitating whether or not to ride his bike back and change clothes while there was still time, a mature and charming older sister looked at Qin Miao strangely as she arrived at the door of the go-kart hall. Qin Miao, after all, was young, and his bad friend who could help young people to be brave was not around. Therefore, facing the strange gaze of his elder sister and the surging waves in front of him, he still felt a moment of embarrassment, and his toes fiercely scratched the soles of his shoes. "Well, I'm here to go karting. But it seems like I came a bit early." Qin Miao explained incoherently, and his face slowly turned red. Looking at the embarrassed look on the big boy in front of her, the big sister burst out laughing. Then he said, "Little brother, why are you shy? But I'm going to disappoint you. Someone booked the venue this morning. Come back this afternoon, little brother." Qin Miao quickly said, "It's okay, I saw the news in the group that the person who booked the venue is my class monitor." As she spoke, Qin Miao took out her phone and opened the group chat to show the big sister in front of her, but Qin Miao still dared not look into her eyes. "Oh, alright, but you did come a bit early, little brother. Our coach hasn't even come to work yet, so even if you want to get on the car for practical training, you have to wait until the coach arrives." Qin Miao said, "It's okay, I can wait." The older sister glanced at Qin Miao briefly and then opened the door of the go-kart hall. "Find any place to sit, the coach will only be here in about 10 minutes. Qin Miao nervously went to the rest area of the go-kart hall to prepare, feeling a bit nervous. He didn't even dare to look at the big sister who was cross-legged behind the cashier after opening the door. But soon Qin Miao fell into another troublesome situation. Looking down at his clothes, Qin Miao reached out to touch his hair that had collapsed due to sleeping on his side. He began to worry about gains and losses again. However, Qin Miao's feeling didn't last long, and soon a man who appeared to be in his 30s walked in. "Are you here? There's a child here, take him for training." The older sister greeted the man as soon as she saw him come in. The man also saw Qin Miao and nodded to answer, "Good boss. This big sister is actually the boss. And this man should be the coach." The coach put down what he had in his hand, then put on a vest with the kart hall logo and came to Qin Miao, saying, "Young man, come with me to do some training." Qin Miao quickly got up from his position and followed the coach. Before leaving, Qin Miao accidentally came across a promotional slogan printed at the door. "Users who have refreshed the fastest circle of the go-kart will receive a lifetime membership card and will use all the facilities of the go-kart for free until the record is broken." The two of them arrived at a conference room, which was not the kind of conference room used by companies for meetings, but a place similar to a small classroom. There is a white screen for a projector on the front wall, and a projector is hanging from the ceiling. This should be needed for the coach's training later. "Have you ever taken off the track before?" the coach casually asked as he opened the projector and the computer in the conference room. At this moment, Qin Miao was still a bit reserved, and when faced with the coach's question, he replied firmly, "I haven't played before, this is the first time." The coach nodded, and when the computer was turned on, he called up the topographic map of the go-kart hall, and then began to talk about it at a glance. The pre-race training is also very simple, mainly discussing the data, engine power, top speed, and safety precautions of the go-kart in the kart field. Finally, there is the track information, including how many turns there are in total, which are left turns and which are right turns, which turns can be passed with full throttle, and which turns require deceleration. These are knowledge about the track and racing. Qin Miao usually enjoys watching videos, but today he seems a bit absent-minded when facing real-life narratives. Those who have been teachers or have been punished for standing on the podium during class know that from the direction of the podium, no matter how hidden the students are, the small movements of their hands and the expressions on their faces sitting under the podium are clearly visible to the people on stage. So Qin Miao's absent-minded coach can clearly see it, but after all, it's just a job, and the speed of the entertainment cart is not too fast. It's difficult to overturn the cart in the narrow cart lane. So he didn't care either, and after finishing the training before the race track, he took Qin Miao to the preparation area downstairs. According to the safety process, the coach gave Qin Miao a series of protective gear such as a helmet, ribs, and gloves. After all, they are public items, and these equipment are consumables. Therefore, the set of equipment worn on Qin Miao's body is not very suitable. The helmet is also loose, and the ribs do not fit Qin Miao's body. However, the gloves made Qin Miao feel a bit novel because his hands would sweat while playing with the simulator at home. In order to absorb sweat, he went to the hardware store downstairs and bought a pack of 10 yuan 5 pairs of labor protection gloves. Although the thread of the protective gloves is thick and not very comfortable to wear on the hand, the gaps inside the gloves can help Qin Miao's hands sweat and increase friction to a certain extent. The most important thing is that they are cheap, and Qin Miao has been using them this way. Although the gloves in the go-kart hall have obvious signs of use, they are professional racing gloves. The anti-slip texture on the palm of the gloves and the sweat-absorbing fabric inside the gloves make Qin Miao feel very novel. After bringing the equipment, Qin Miao arrived at the preparation area. The karting track at the kart hall is a counterclockwise track with a total length of 421 meters and a total of 14 turns, including 9 left turns and 5 right turns. The maximum speed of the track can reach 60 km per hour driven by a 4-stroke 240cc Yamaha engine. However, this is not the limit of this engine, as it can reach a maximum speed of 80 km per hour when paired with the chassis. However, due to track limitations, there are no mistakes when taking turns, and the overall straight line is perfect. The fastest speed can only reach 60 km per hour before entering the next turn. Due to the absence of anyone, Qin Miao, under the guidance of the coach, made the top 18 go-kart. At this moment, Qin Miao's attention had unconsciously shifted to the go-kart. Sometimes things you love can really attract boys' attention more than the opposite sex. Just as Qin Miaoyue was about to try and sit in the driver's seat of a go-kart, holding the steering wheel with both hands. Ding, conditions met, the strongest car god system will start. Reading host information. Please wait. Read successful. Name. Qin Miao, age. 18 overall score. 38.6 physical strength. 46 mentality. 59 stability. 66 ranking ability. 17 starting ability. 42 long distance race. 2 ability to maintain pregnancy. 33 rain battle ability. 10 attack ability. 41 defensive ability. 70 evaluation. Paper Talk, beginner in defense, the newbie gift package has been successfully distributed. Do you want to open it now? Yes, no, P.S. The dog author wrote poorly in the early stages, which I apologize to the readers. Those who don't want to waste time and don't have high drug resistance can jump to chapter 79 if they want to watch racing directly. End of this chapter. Chapter 2-2. Are you really playing go-kart for the first time? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2-2. Are you really playing go-kart for the first time? Looking at the text quickly flashing in front of him like computer code, Qin Miao's CPU burned on the spot. Fortunately, the coach did not urge Qin Miao, and it was normal for the first time the person playing kart to hesitate in the driver's seat and not dare to step on the accelerator. Moreover, judging from Qin Miao's performance just now, this child probably has something hidden in his heart. A young boy at this age appears absent-minded except when it comes to things related to the opposite sex. The coach guessed Qin Miao's thoughts at this moment, but couldn't understand how much impact the things that appeared in front of Qin Miao had on his soul. Qin Miao, who had always adhered to the belief that no pie would fall from the sky, even if it did, it would not hit her head. This sudden system made her emotions somewhat disconnected. After being stunned for a while, a wave of ecstasy surged in Qin Miao's heart. The adrenaline surged, and dopamine began to secrete wildly, as if she didn't want money. So much so that Qin Miao's hand, which was still tightly holding the steering wheel, trembled uncontrollably. What is this? This is a system. Something that only the protagonist of a novel can have. And this pie actually hit me on the head like this. The name of the system is Strongest Car God System. Does that mean that one's main future direction is in their favorite racing car? If my future self grows to a certain extent, does it mean that I can compete with world champion level drivers like Hamilton, Alonso, and Vettel on the same stage? Do I also have the opportunity to stand on the supreme F1 podium, where I can selflessly throw myself into the arms of the team staff to celebrate after winning? Enjoying the gaze of everyone, either approving, jealous, or hostile. But Qin Miao also knows that even with the system, he may not be able to secure a seat in F1. To put it jokingly, the official driver seat in F1 is even more difficult to secure than the position of national president, as there are only 20 official F1 drivers worldwide, while there are more than 100 national presidents. To become an F1 driver, one not only needs advanced skills, but also sufficient capital behind them. After all, racing cars are not something that families like Qin Miao, who have to consider fuel consumption and maintenance when buying a car, can afford. As soon as Qin Miao thought of these, the vanity and palpitations that had just surged in his heart quickly cooled down like a bucket of cold water poured on him. Qin Miao thought for a moment and got off the go-kart directly. He didn't just follow the palpitations in his heart just because he obtained the system, disregarding the oil on the floor and rushing out. After all, he is a person who often plays simulation racing and can be invited to run regular simulator races without much effort. Perhaps Qin Miao lacks a deep understanding of human relationships and worldly wisdom, but he still has a thorough understanding of racing knowledge. If you practice driving on a simulator in your usual state, even if you know in your heart that you should maintain your current speed and persist until the end of the race, you will still instinctively push the car to the limit. This approach naturally leads to frequent mistakes, and the reason for Qin Miao's withdrawal from the race was due to a collision last night. Moreover, this is reality. If you crash your car in this state, not only will you lose money, but you may also be injured. So Qin Miao, amidst the coach's somewhat surprised gaze, turned off the engine and got off the go-kart. What's wrong? Faced with the coach's problem, Qin Miao cannot tell him that he inexplicably gained a system. So he said vaguely, I was a bit nervous the first time I drove, but I came down slowly. The coach didn't say anything, just told Qin Miao how to start the engine of the go-kart specifically, and then went upstairs. Someone booked the venue this morning, which means there are still guests coming later and they need to go up for training. Qin Miao's attention was also not focused on the coach, and the system screen in front of him had not been retracted yet. He focused all his attention on the system screen. To be honest, Qin Miao, who had just discovered that he had obtained the system, did not pay too much attention to his specific data. His mind was filled with the sudden joy of obtaining the system. However, as a professionally sports athlete who can easily participate with a little practice, Qin Miao believes that he still has talent in the sport of racing. However, due to family reasons, the only option he can choose on the road of racing is the esports driver. After all, playing a simulator is not afraid of crashing and not having money to repair, nor is it afraid of being hit and killed. But now he has obtained the system, which has forced Qin Miao to have other ideas. He dare not expect F1, but he is still confident in winning a position in top competitions such as GT3, WRC, and Super RV. After carefully reviewing the rating given by the system to her current self, Qin Miao knew that she might not be able to run WRC. The full name of WRC is World Rally Championship. It is another world-class automotive event on par with F1. Drivers from various teams drive professionally modified mass-produced cars and travel around the world, overcoming various harsh terrains including sand, snow, asphalt, mud, and rain for thousands of kilometers. It takes 11 months to determine the ultimate king. Known as the world's most demanding car rally. However, WRC racing is different from track racing. As WRC is a rally race, most of the time it runs on unpaved roads, which are winding and winding. So in addition to the driver, the car is also equipped with a navigator who specifically records the racetrack and gives the driver information on the angle and road conditions of the next bend. The information reported by the navigator is called a guidebook. Qin Miao's system does not provide any attributes for understanding road maps, some are all related to track racing. After narrowing down his future employment direction, Qin Miao shifted his focus to specific data. And at this glance, Qin Miao's blood pressure instantly rose. Damn it, why is my ranking ability so low? Why is there only 2 points for a long distance in the main race? I don't like rainy days, so I haven't run much on the simulator. I think the score of rain battles is low, and I can understand if you give me a score of 10. But why do I only score 2 points for long-distance races? In fact, the system takes into account this attribute comprehensively, calculating not only driving skills, but also the comprehensive scores of physical strength, concentration, and many other factors. Fortunately, in the end, Qin Miao discovered his strength, which was his defensive ability of up to 70 points. This also slightly lowered Qin Miao's blood pressure, but he still felt his temples bouncing vigorously. The final evaluation, Qin Miao, thinks it's quite fair, and the overall score is also relatively normal. After reading his specific data, Qin Miao took a deep breath and then summoned the system to open another gift that the system had given, which was the so-called beginner gift package. Although there was no one in the preparation area of the go-kart hall at this time, and the yes button was right in front of Qin Miao still carefully looked around and only reached out to click on the yes button in front of him when he found no one. Ding, the beginner's gift pack has been opened. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Racing Fund 500,000 renminbi, all attributes +5, passive skill. Diligence can make up for weakness, skill slot. *1. Note 1. Racing Fund. Legal income arranged by the system, but limited to the use of racing business, and the use process is subject to system supervision. Note 2. Diligence can make up for weakness. Talent is not enough, work hard to make up for it. Skill effect. Completing each lap can increase proficiency in the current track. No upper limit on proficiency. Note 3. Skill slot. Can equip acquired skills. At the moment the system gift package was opened, Qin Miao felt that his body had undergone some changes. Every inch of the skin on my body was extremely itchy, and there was an unbearable pain in my muscles. My mind was like being pried open from the sky and poured water into it, pouring a lot of knowledge. In this extremely sour and refreshing state, Qin Miao's heart surprisingly remained calm. Just as Qin Miao was about to cry out for this sudden sour sensation, it disappeared instantly, as if everything Qin Miao had just experienced was just an illusion. After his body returned to normal, Qin Miao took a deep breath and suddenly felt a hint of fatigue. He had experienced too many changes in the day. However, to be honest, Qin Miao feels that his system is quite generous. This beginner's gift package is truly a big gift package. Just the racing fund made Qin Miao feel that this big gift package was worth it. Because playing racing is notoriously expensive. During the race, the car was knocked over for thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, not to mention that there were many consumables on the car, such as tires, oil, race fuel, engine, gearbox. It can be imagined that since you start the engine, every time the spark plug ignites the fuel in the engine cylinder, it causes an impact on the cylinder wall of the engine, reducing the service life of the engine. Every time you press the brake pads and calipers are worn out, and even every time you shift gears, the gears in the gearbox are worn out. Therefore, playing a racing car is burning money, and the higher the level of the car, the more money it burns. This 500,000 yuan can also be considered as a way to alleviate Qin Miao's urgent need, but it is still impossible for Qin Miao to completely let go and play real racing. Not to mention F1, a set of aerodynamic kits for the human GT3 racing car costs more than 500,000 yuan. Including the shell, frame, engine, gearbox, tires, and so on, the price of a car has gone up to 1 million yuan. I just don't know how the system specifically transferred this money to Qin Miao's account. There's nothing to say about the second full attribute +5, which is to enhance Qin Miao's all abilities. The sour feeling just now should also have emerged because of this reward. The third one seems a bit outrageous to Qin Miao, as long as he has the time and enough money to race around the track he needs and do lap speed. Perhaps in the future, this skill will be the foundation for oneself to settle down in the professional arena. As for the last skill slot, Qin Miao, as a gaming enthusiast, can still understand it. It's just about equipping skills on this skill slot and letting the skills come into play. But Qin Miao anticipated that in the future, he would have to carefully choose the skills he could bring to the competition every time, because from the skill slot setting, the skills he could bring to the competition were limited. And Qin Miao believes that the difficulty of obtaining skill slots will be higher than that of skills. After carefully studying the system that was very new to Qin Miao and never discovering any new features, Qin Miao eagerly arrived at the edge of the track. According to the coach's recent teaching, Qin Miao enthusiastically pulled the rope, started the engine of the go-kart, and then got on the go-kart. Qin Miao kicked the accelerator of the go-kart all the way in the parking area. Squeak, squeak. The rubber tires made a sharp and piercing friction sound with the ground of the track, and Qin Miao's go-kart jumped out in an instant. The sudden movement startled the coach and older sister upstairs, and they quickly went to the edge of the podium on the second floor to look down. After confirming that it was not Qin Miao, this cute newcomer, who crashed due to an operational error, he breathed a slight sigh of relief. To be honest, Qin Miao has driven many cars on the simulator, including the GT3, F1, and even WRC rally cars. But at that time, his perspective of observing the track was only that 27-inch second-hand screen, and many details were not felt, and the sense of speed was not strong. Now sitting in a real car, even if it's just an entertainment cart, the sudden push-back feeling of pressing the accelerator to the bottom. In the game, Qin Miao, who runs 300 km per hour, feels a bit slow. When the speed of the cart is only about 50 km per hour, he feels that things on both sides of his field of vision are rapidly retreating. The scene retreated rapidly and the unprotected driving environment instinctively gave Qin Miao a feeling of fear. But after the feeling of fear, Qin Miao's heart developed another emotion called eagerness to try. He wanted to try his operations and skills on the simulator, whether it would work in reality or not. Even if you drive a GT3 on the simulator and it's just an entertainment cart in reality. But by analogy, the wiring, throttle control, and brake point selection can all be converted like mathematical formulas. After Qin Miao rushed out of the parking area, he began to constantly accelerate. Although Qin Miao was absent-minded during the training, he still paid attention to the top view of the track and the driving lines on the top view. Qin Miao didn't have much time to study the track layout during the ACC competition. Usually, he just glanced at the corners and determined which ones had higher difficulty coefficients before driving and running on his own, feeling and summarizing in practice. So when playing karting, Qin Miao also used this method. After entering the track, Qin Miao kept a stable lap speed that would be impossible for a first-time karter to run. Moreover, Qin Miao maintains a speed of remembering 2 brake points per lap, constantly refining information about this track in his mind. The skills equipped by Qin Miao will receive a prompt every time he completes a lap. Ding, practice circle completed, track proficiency +1. Current proficiency. 1. And Qin Miao's speed and wiring style also made the coach upstairs, who was bored observing the racetrack, slightly curl his lips. Is this the speed that someone who has never played go-karting can achieve? This wiring method, as well as the control of the route and the control of the braking points after turning, are not as proficient as some regulars who often come here to play karting. Even the shadows of some professional drivers can be seen. Is that all? First time playing go-kart. What about deceiving ghosts? The coach pursed his lips and said to himself, this young man, at a young age, doesn't learn well. He learns from the protagonist in the novel to play the role of a pig and eat a tiger. The key is that no one here is making you lose face. Qin Miao didn't know that the coach had already started to slander him, and the freshness of being exposed to racing cars for the first time in reality had not yet subsided. He seemed to have an endless amount of strength inside his body, doing his lap speed one after another. And Qin Miao's system will also give a prompt every time he finishes a lap. The rapid increase in proficiency also made Qin Miao more familiar with the track he was running on, and the lap time was also getting faster. By the time Qin Miao's proficiency on this track reached 10, he was able to clearly remember all the braking points and the most suitable turning angle on this track. However, after Qin Miao improved his proficiency to 10, he didn't continue running. A senior high school student who usually doesn't exercise much can only be said to have average physical fitness. Moreover, this is his first time driving a go-kart, and he doesn't know how to save energy when G-forces come over. As he became more familiar with the track, he drove more aggressively and at a faster speed. After 10 laps, Qin Miao was too tired to continue running. Driving slowly back to the parking area, Qin Miao immediately opened his helmet mask and greedily took 2 breaths of fresh air before turning off the car. Suppressing his sore hands, Qin Miao struggled to get off the go-kart, took off his equipment, and casually found a place to sit down. In just 10 laps and about 15 minutes, Qin Miao's hair, which had obvious dents, was completely soaked in sweat and lay limp on his head, so at least there was no need to worry about his classmates saying that Qin Miao had gone out unkempt. A casual backward twist can also be considered as giving oneself a hairstyle. Although these 10 laps almost exhausted Qin Miao to death on the track, it has to be said that the thrill of constantly testing at the tire limit and almost scraping past the tire wall every time the frame takes a turn made Qin Miao unable to stop. Even after gradually getting used to this speed, Qin Miao found that the sense of speed had disappeared, and even felt that the speed of the go-kart was a bit slow. And Qin Miao also took advantage of his rest to start researching his own system. At this moment, the coach who had just gone to the upstairs rest area walked down again, holding a supermarket receipt-like note in his hand. After arriving in front of Qin Miao, he handed the note to Qin Miao and said, "Brother, your grades are good." Qin Miao took the note with some confusion, and the information on it was very concise. Car 18. First lap. 1:31, 77 second lap. 1:30, 41 third lap. 1:29, 11 circle 9. 1:27, 65 circle 10. 1:27, 98 fastest lap speed. 1:27, 65 overall ranking of karting lots. 19. As Qin Miao was watching, the coach jokingly said, "It's unlikely that your performance can be achieved by someone who's been playing karting for the first time. Don't make fun of me. Did you used to play karting a lot?" During the time when the coach was speaking, Qin Miao also finished reading the information on the note and spoke with some confusion, saying, "This is really my first time playing, why doesn't it look like it anymore? And my grades aren't particularly good, right? Look, the top 10 didn't even enter, the top 20 stepped on the threshold." Upon hearing these words, the coach's gaze immediately became strange. This kid is not honest, he is definitely pretending to be forced. But he subconsciously knew that this might be Qin Miao's first time playing go-kart. Because from Qin Miao's performance in entering the go-kart hall, it can be seen that he really doesn't understand many things about the go-kart hall. It's completely like being a newcomer, with curiosity in every eye, and this curiosity doesn't seem to be a performance at all. Moreover, most boys at Qin Miao's age try to attract others' attention by pretending to understand, showing off, and trying to show off themselves in a way that they don't try to hide themselves like Qin Miao does now, just like an old pussy. Looking at Qin Miao's innocent face, I inexplicably still feel a little uncomfortable. What's going on at this moment? A dozen or so young people of the same age as Qin Miao came to the outside of the cart field. One of the boys who appeared to be the leader boasted to his classmates, "Let me tell you, the lap time at this go-kart is very valuable. Because there is a permanent free rider policy for those who win the fastest lap, many professional drivers have come here to do lap speed, so the top 20 speeds at this go-kart are all done by professional drivers." End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Qin Miao. I'm going to explode. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Qin Miao. I'm going to explode. These people are naturally Qin Miao's classmates. For these unheard of cold knowledge, the students naturally listened attentively, and their eyes unconsciously showed curiosity about these obscure yet interesting knowledge. People are always good teachers, let alone Zhu Hong, who is just an immature child at this time. Therefore, facing the curious eyes of his classmates, Zhu Hong's vanity was greatly satisfied. Of course, besides the classmates who gathered together to listen to Zhu Hong's show-off, there were also many who whispered together in the crowd. Although I am already in my 3rd year of high school, I have not had any real experience of entering society. Before the exams in society, my classmates were still a bit hesitant, except for a few couples who had already established relationships who ended up at the end of the team, holding hands and whispering. Those classmates who have already graduated but still dare not express their feelings to their significant other, all they can do is to turn their heads in the direction of the person they care about, seemingly unintentionally. Even a fleeting glance can make them happy for a long time. And the vast majority of students are still divided into 2 large groups, just like in school. A group of male students and a group of female students. And within these 2 large groups, there are countless small groups. There are more girls in these small groups, while boys are a group of people who are noisy and chaotic together. Among the group of girls, there are 2 girls who are the most eye-catching. A girl is a standard black and straight, with a melon seed face and a height of 1.72 meters. She is very tall, and coupled with a relatively slim white floral dress, her tall figure and the clean demeanor of a literary and artistic girl on her body, anyone who sees her will immediately associate it with the white moonlight in their own lush years. The other girl is not as beautiful anymore, she is a different kind of beauty. Neutral short hair grows to the back of the neck, adding a touch of layering to the cute face that was originally slightly round, adding a touch of handsome and clean to the girl's face. Coupled with delicate air bangs and the plain confidence highlighted in those eyes, it exudes a dry and handsome beauty. At this moment, the 2 girls were quietly chatting together. "Qiu Meng, are you sure Qin Miao has arrived? Why didn't you see him all the way over?" The girl with long hair whispered as she looked around, "I don't know what you think, so I have to suggest that these little boys don't have such high emotional intelligence. Can't you just go and confess to him?" Upon hearing these words, Qiu Meng's face blushed slightly, but she unusually candidly said, "Yes, I used to be a bit too twisted." Then she looked at Fan Yu and smiled, "So I will definitely seize the opportunity today." Looking at Qiu Meng's smile, Fan Yu was a bit stunned, and for a moment, she was not used to her current state. Because Qiu Meng used to have a shy personality and was a bit hesitant, otherwise she wouldn't have liked Qin Miao for 3 years without confessing her feelings. But Fan Yu felt that today's Qiu Meng had undergone some inexplicable changes compared to her when she was studying, but the specific changes could not be explained. Since the end of the college entrance examination, it has only been 8 days since we last met. What has Qiu Meng gone through these 8 days to make such a big change happen to her? But to be honest, today was clearly the class monitor's bureau, but you had to bring Fan Yueo's name. Didn't you notice anything? Seeing the topic suddenly shift to herself, Fan Yu instinctively reached out and wrapped her hair behind her head, seemingly unintentionally turning her head to look at Zhu Hong, who was chatting at the forefront of the team. At this moment, Zhu Hong in front seemed to turn around and talk to his classmates, but his eyes turned towards Fan Yu. Their eyes met in the air. So bold and shy. Let him do it. A group of people entered the go-kart hall in such a grand manner. The noisy noise upstairs also attracted Qin Miao downstairs, who was researching how to send the 500,000 yuan mentioned by the system to him. The familiar voices of his classmates penetrated into Qin Miao's ears, and he instantly confirmed their identities. After taking off his equipment, Qin Miao instinctively stroked the hair on his head before going upstairs. In his 3 years of high school, although Qin Miao did not become a highly popular character like class monitor Zhu Hong, he was able to hook up with anyone. But he didn't mess around too much. Qin Miao could basically chat with all his classmates for a while. Unfortunately, the classmate who had the best relationship with Qin Miao went on a trip after the college entrance examination and did not attend this gathering. Qin Miao. When Qin Miao came up from the first floor, someone in the crowd quickly noticed him. Why did you come so early? The classmates were all surprised by Qin Miao's appearance, even Qiu Meng in the crowd was no exception. She thought Qin Miao was sleeping at home when she messaged him. Qin Miao replied, "You may not believe it. I originally wanted to come to the go-kart hall to play today, and I have been playing computer games every day during this time. I haven't seen the class group for a while, and I had no idea you were coming before Autumn Meng told me in the morning." Upon hearing Qin Miao's answer, the classmates had different expressions. Hey! According to Qin Miao's words, this is not a coincidence. Class monitor Zhu Hong smiled and walked up to Qin Miao without any concern, saying, "But it doesn't matter. As long as the person comes, all your expenses today will be counted towards me and Fan Yu like other classmates." Speaking of Fan Yu's name, Qin Miao instinctively searched among his classmates and soon found Fan Yu beside Qiu Meng. "Then I'll thank the class monitor. The class monitor is grand." Qin Miao covered it up very well, and basically no one noticed the change in Qin Miao's eyes. "They're all classmates, so why are you polite?" Zhu Hong noticed Qin Miao's slightly damp hair on his head and said, "But you look like this. You just ran 2 laps. How do you feel? Your grades are good, right?" Qin Miao honestly expressed his true feelings and said, "It's great. In reality, playing a car feels completely different from the racing game I played on my computer, it's really enjoyable. As for the results, it can only be said to be average." I don't know if it's an illusion, but Qin Miao felt that Zhu Hong's smile became even more enthusiastic when he heard him say his grades were average. The coach, who was waiting for the crowd to come and train not far away at the entrance of the small classroom, instinctively twitched at the corner of his mouth when he heard Qin Miao's words. "It's okay, it's normal for my first time playing go-kart to not achieve ideal results." Zhu Hong smiled and patted Qin Miao, saying, "This is a gradual process of accumulation, and in the future, I can definitely improve my grades by playing more often. I think all the pre-competition training has been completed, right?" Zhu Hong said at the end, "The other students haven't received any training yet. You can find a place to rest first, and we will run a small competition together later. The winner will also receive a small prize." After Zhu Hong finished speaking, he was very familiar with the other classmates and brought them into the small classroom that Qin Miao had visited once. Qin Miao also smiled and chatted with classmates passing by one, until Fan Yu passed by his side. Qin Miao, who was able to speak up without fear through WeChat on his phone, was like a piece of wood, frozen in place and unable to do anything, even unable to speak. When Fan Yu passed by Qin Miao, she just smiled and said hello, then walked into the small classroom with a curious expression on her face. Finally, Qiu Meng came to Qin Miao's side and smiled as she handed an unopened packet of tissues to Qin Miao and said, "Here, wipe your sweat." Qin Miao was not polite either. He took it over, opened it up, took a puff, and wiped it on his face. I didn't thank you either. After so many years of friendship with my desk mate, there's no need to thank them. Go for training, I'll take a break. Qin Miao stuffed the used tissue into his pocket, ready to throw it away when he saw the trash can. But Qiumeng didn't rush to leave, but smiled and said to Qin Miao, "This is my first time here, I'm not very good at playing with this. You have to take me with you later." After hearing Chiu Meng's request, Qin Miao was taken aback for a moment, because Chiu Meng was not like this before. It's not about Chiu Meng being autistic in the past, after all, a girl who can talk about Qin Miao's cerebral palsy in front of Qin Miao must have a big heart. But in the past, Chiu Meng was a bit hesitant, and requests like this were usually not so direct. She will try to suggest to Qin Miao what she wants to do, and if she doesn't understand, Qin Miao will face a fierce beating. This also caused Qin Miao and Chiu Meng to get inexplicably beaten while chatting. It's just a fight, but when Chiu Meng fought against Qin Miao, she never really used her strength. Facing Chiu Meng's request, Qin Miao nodded without even thinking and said, "Okay, but my skills are also average." "Don't be too slow then." "Oh no." Autumn Meng's smile became even brighter after seeing Qin Miao agree. This smile even made Qin Miao feel a little dazed. When did Chiu Meng, a brainless person, smile so beautifully? "By the way, have you really stayed at home all these days off?" Chiu Meng asked curiously. Qin Miao nodded and said, "I don't know what to do when I go out, and besides, in my third year of high school, you also know how oppressive we were during that time. After the college entrance examination, I felt a bit liberated. But I can't compare to those who treat games as a profession. After playing for 7 days, I feel a bit tired." Chiu Meng curiously asked, "After 7 days of high-intensity gameplay, do you never want to play games again?" Qin Miao rolled his eyes in frustration and said, "How could it be? I just haven't been out much for 7 days and it's a bit oppressive. I still have to play the game." Chiu Meng shook her head helplessly. After chatting for a few moments, the distant classmates also began to urge Chiu Meng. Then the girl threw the cloth bag containing her belongings into Qin Miao's hand and effortlessly headed towards the small conference room. Qin Miao was stunned for a moment, looking down at the bag that appeared inexplicably in his hand. He felt a strange sense of absurdity in his heart. He didn't know Chiu Meng so well, did he? "Why did you just throw your bag directly to me? Are you not afraid of me rummaging through your things?" But boys, when they have beautiful girls and intimate behavior, they feel a sense of vanity and satisfaction. Even if Chiu Meng and Qin Miao have a particularly good relationship, both sides are very familiar with each other. As Qin Miao waited for his classmates to come out of the small classroom, his mentality underwent a slight change due to the inexplicable addition of a system. It is actually quite abnormal for the protagonist in the novel to maintain a calm nature even after suddenly acquiring the system. And Qin Miao, as an ordinary person, suddenly obtained such a thing, which was similar to the situation where a poor person became wealthy. It was difficult not to inflate. During that period, Qin Miao's mentality remained unchanged mainly because his mind was filled with many things. Qin Miao just wanted to test the system's functions, and it was also his first time playing racing, and he was even worried about his image. There is simply no extra time for Qin Miao to think about what a system really means for an ordinary person like him. And now Qin Miao has enough time to think carefully. So in thought, Qin Miao naturally expanded. After all, he gained something that only the protagonist in the novel would gain, which means that from now on, Qin Miao's growth will be quantified, and he can clearly know that his efforts have been rewarded. He is able to receive positive feedback from his own growth and maximize his motivation. And the system also provides money and skills. Qin Miao's high achievements in the field of racing in the future can already be predicted in advance. It was precisely because of these thoughts that Qin Miao suddenly had the illusion that he and his classmates were no longer in the same world, and even a hint of contempt appeared in his gaze towards the small conference room. But thinking that Fan Yu was also inside, Qin Miao's eyes suddenly became eager to try again. More than 10 minutes later, amidst the sounds of "good" and "I understand," the students rushed out of the small classroom and, under the leadership of Zhu Hong, bravely rushed towards the racing area downstairs. "Qin Miao, don't be stunned. Let's go down and play with the car." Zhu Hong noticed Qin Miao sitting when he went downstairs and called out. "Here we go." Qin Miao responded, getting up from his position and walking downstairs with a slightly larger pace than before. When Qin Miao arrived at the entrance of the stairs, he found that Chiu Meng was waiting for him right here. Returning Chiu Meng's bag, Qin Miao casually asked, "Why have you become so lazy after taking a break? Exercise more, otherwise you will gain weight." After joking, Qin Miao was ready to be punched by Chiu Meng, and his right arm muscles were tense, ready to face Chiu Meng's impact at any time. When reading, Qin Miao joked about Chiu Meng, but what Qin Miao welcomed was either Chiu Meng's fist or her fingernails. However, Qin Miao's preparation this time was in vain. Chiu Meng did not give Qin Miao the same help as she did when she was still at school. Just looking at Qin Miao inexplicably, Qin Miao was certain that there was no anger in the eyes of Chiu Meng when she looked at her. However, he couldn't understand what the inexplicable expression in Chiu Meng's eyes meant, but what was certain was that from her performance today, Chiu Meng had undergone significant changes compared to before. Qin Miao asked with some unease, "I haven't seen you for just a week. Why do you feel strange and stimulated?" "It's okay, mind me." Chiu Meng blinked, and the inexplicable expression in her eyes disappeared, returning to the familiar Chiu Meng that Qin Miao was familiar with. "Fierce and cute. That's okay, let's go down." After getting the exact answer from Chiu Meng, Qin Miao didn't think much and turned around and went downstairs. After arriving at the arena downstairs, Qin Miao had already seen some of his anxious classmates getting on the go-kart. Some male classmates are driving a double cart with a female classmate behind them, slowly exiting the parking area. Looking at the seats in the two-person cart that are almost adjacent to each other, it is obvious that the students playing this type of cart are not drunk. Quickly, with the male classmate's sudden break, the female classmate's exclamation sounded, and their bodies pressed directly against each other. The female classmate's shy and coquettish anger gradually faded away with the roar of the engine, and class monitor Zhu Hong was wearing a purple painted helmet of the same style as an old man on his head. Qin Miao even saw Zhu Hong wearing a sweat-absorbing headband. Qin Miao didn't know if the monitor was fast or not, but he felt that the monitor's professionalism in equipment had already been fully utilized. Like an old sow wearing a bra, one said after another. "Alright, let's each pick a car and familiarize ourselves with the vehicle and track. Later, we will hold a few small competitions and some mysterious gifts." After putting on the helmet, Zhu Hong explained to the students who were still in the preparation area. At the same time, he did not forget to help his classmates wear equipment that was not familiar to them. Zhu Hongming often comes here to play and is very familiar with the layout of the environment, even proficient in wearing equipment. Quickly helped 2 or 3 classmates who didn't understand how to dress their equipment, and then appeared to come to Fan Yu's side unintentionally. "Can't you wear it?" Zhu Hong smiled and asked Fan Yu, who was tinkering with equipment there. Fan Yu nodded. "Let me help you. Look, this rope goes through this place and then inserts into this buckle. Is the helmet a bit too big? Let me help you tighten it a bit, you look up first. This is a rib protector. In case of an accident or collision, it can protect your ribs and alleviate the impact force." As the rib protector had to pass through the back, when Zhu Hong helped Fan Yu pass through the rib protector, Fan Yu directly raised her hands and showed her slender waist wrapped under the white skirt hem, which was tightly clenched in front of Zhu Hong. As if on purpose, Zhu Hong began to help Fan Yu put on protective gear with both hands in a hugging position. From Qin Miao's perspective, the two of them were completely hugging each other. The scene of them hugging each other may just be an intimate interaction between a young couple for others. For Qin Miao, who has been in love with Fan Yu for 3.5 years, this scene is nothing more than the end of the world. At this moment, Qin Miao felt the sky collapse. In just an instant, a surge of anger and humiliation surged into Qin Miao's brain. Qin Miao had a strong impulse to rush forward and separate the two, and he was also ready to put it into practice. After all, Qin Miao already had a system at this time, and he knew that his life was destined to be extraordinary. With a slightly arrogant attitude, he couldn't bear the girl he loved being held in the arms of another man. However, just as Qin Miao was about to take his own steps forward, an incredibly cold object suddenly slipped into Qin Miao's collar, causing him to shiver as he was about to explode. The mind that was about to be overwhelmed by anger also cleared up a bit. Quickly shaking off the cold thing from his collar, he looked down and saw a small pudding ice cream that had not been unpacked yet. This is one of Chiu Meng's favorite snacks to eat. I don't know why, but at the moment he saw this ice cream, Qin Miao's first thought that came out of his angry mind was actually this. Turning her head to look at Chiu Meng's position, she saw the short-haired girl smiling at him, holding a small pudding that had already been bitten halfway by him. There was still a bit of milky white ice cream left on her upper lip, adding a touch of cuteness to her slightly heroic face due to hairstyle issues. Qin Miao originally wanted to get angry, but when he saw Chiu Meng's appearance, he inexplicably calmed down a bit. I don't know if it's because of Chiu Meng or because the system added 5 attributes to Qin Miao's mentality. After Qin Miao's mind calmed down a bit, she came back to her senses. She wasn't Fan Yu's, at most she was just a classmate, and she didn't stop their stance at all. Although Qin Miao is no longer angry enough to rush up and fight against the class monitor Zhu Hong like he did just now, after experiencing this incident, he no longer has the nature to continue playing go-karts. However, before Qin Miao could have more thoughts and ideas, Chiu Meng's soft and sticky voice came over again. "NT desk mate. Don't waste it. It's not unpacked, it's still edible." As she spoke, Chiu Meng bent down in front of Qin Miao and picked up the small pudding that had fallen on the ground. Then he handed it over to Qin Miao and asked, "Do you want it?" If it were Qin Miao 5 minutes ago, facing the ice cream handed over by Chiu Meng, he would definitely grab the delicious one and start enjoying it without saying a word. But at this moment, he couldn't bring up any interest. But Chiu Meng doesn't care about you so much. Seeing Qin Miao, who was still in high spirits just now, like an eggplant beaten by frost, she silently sighed in her heart. Opening the ice cream, Chiu Meng forcefully stuffed it into Qin Miao's mouth. Qin Miao's sad mood was interrupted for the second time by Chiu Meng, and her whole body was feeling a bit bad. However, before Qin Miao could take the ice cream out of her mouth and say anything, Chiu Meng pulled Qin Miao and whispered in his ear in a voice that only 2 people could hear. "Qin Miao, I like you." The beautiful voice of the girl paired with the hot air blowing towards Qin Miao's earlobe, and a combination of punches came down. "Qin Miao. Who am I? Where am I? What happened? P.S. I'm sorry for being late, but it's shameless to ask for a monthly pass. Thank you, readers." End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Pig Brain Overload. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Pig Brain Overload. Asaka Nozaka once said, "You never know who will come first, tomorrow or the accident." But Qin Miao felt that he didn't encounter anything else today. It was all an accident. It was an accident to obtain the system. It was an accident to find out that there was a classmate gathering at the go-kart hall today, and it was also an accident to discover that Fan Yu would also come. It was also an accident to discover that Fan Yu's relationship with the class monitor was also unexpected. By this point, Qin Miao had already felt very outrageous. He didn't expect that Chiu Meng, who had been sitting with him for 2.5 years, would give him the final blow. When Qin Miao first acquired the system, at most it was CPU overload and severe heat generation, but he still maintained his thinking ability. But now, Qin Miao's CPU has really been burned dry, and the pig brain is overloaded on the spot. The whole person stood there in a daze, with a blank mind. Even the little pudding in his mouth melted, and he didn't notice any white milk droplets flowing from the corner of his mouth. After a while, Qin Miao regained his senses in a daze. It's not that he sorted out his thoughts in a short time. Qin Miao gave up thinking directly. My cabinet has moved, I'm not playing anymore, I need to go home. Qin Miao looked around in confusion, then turned around and prepared to walk upstairs. Qiu Meng quickly grabbed Qin Miao and wiped his mouth, saying helplessly, "Are you still in the mood to play jokes now? Fan Yu has never liked you before, and she just looks at you like an ordinary classmate, and you and she are not together. Why did you break up? Relax." Qin Miao turned her head to look at Qiu Meng, wanting to say something, but she opened her mouth and couldn't say anything. His mind is now a paste. It's okay, just like being injured. At first, it may be a bit uncomfortable. Find some entertainment to transition to, and in 10.5 days, you will find that everything is over. Qiu Meng comforted Qin Miao. Why are you so skilled? At this moment, Qin Miao's eyebrows drooped. Although the questions were weak, at least he had no intention of leaving. Autumn Meng smiled heartlessly and answered, "You'll naturally know when you've experienced more." Qin Miao glanced at Qiu Meng and didn't go to the parking area. She sat down on the stairs at the connection between the parking area and the reception hall on the second floor. Oh my! The ground is dirty. Qiu Meng stopped Qin Miao for a moment, but she didn't refuse to let him sit. Instead, she stuffed a piece of paper under Qin Miao's buttocks. Qin Miao took the opportunity to sit down, while Qiu Meng also put a piece of paper under her buttocks and sat next to Qin Miao. The two of them sat quietly without speaking. And the students below have already found their carts and started running on the track amidst the sudden sound of the engine. Zhu Hong and Fan Yu sat in a two-person go-kart, and they were very close together. Although they were wearing helmets and couldn't see their expressions clearly, Qin Miao could imagine their laughter and conversation. If he also drove a two-seater car to surpass Zhu Hong, would Fan Yu be interested in him? Don't you want to go down and play? Just as Qin Miao was lost in thought, Qiu Meng's vague voice sounded. Turning her head, Qiu Meng was eating a small pudding with relish. I'm not interested anymore, I just want to find a quiet place to stay for a while. Qin Miao's mind was very confused, and he felt like he needed to organize his thoughts. In just 2 hours today, there were too many things that caught Qin Miao off guard. The hustle and bustle of life made Qin Miao feel like he was watching a movie and overwhelmed. That's not a problem, but since everyone has come, if you just leave, it will actually make your classmates doubt why you suddenly left. Qiu Meng's face suddenly wore an interested smile. "NT desk mate, you don't want your classmates to know that you like Fan Yu, do you?" Qin Miao hides very well. Although he has been in love with Fan Yu since the 3rd year of junior high school, he has never told anyone about it and no one has noticed it. Except for Qiu Meng, only Fan Yu herself was aware of this matter. But Qin Miao was very restrained. Although he would take the initiative to chat with Fan Yu, every time he chatted, Qin Miao would find a suitable reason. So Fan Yu just felt that Qin Miao was a bit annoying and vaguely thought that he might like him, but there was no conclusive evidence. If it were Qin Miao in a normal state, he would definitely scoff at Qiu Meng's clumsy threat. Do you need any more reasons to leave? Just make up a family member to find yourself. As for knowing that you like Fan Yu, leaving aside whether Qiu Meng has any evidence, what if she finds out? To put it bluntly, everyone has graduated and is about to go their separate ways. At most, we will gather together for a meal during holidays and festivals. In normal life, we will no longer have too much interaction with our high school classmates. If you know, you'll know. But now Qin Miao's mind has become a mess. What kind of logical reasoning ability and thinking ability has been scrapped together with his brain? So facing Chiu Meng's clumsy threat, Qin Miao asked with a bewildered expression, "What should we do?" Autumn Meng replied confidently, "It's very simple." After finishing her small pudding stick, she wiped it clean with a tissue and stuffed the tissue and stick into Qin Miao's garbage bag. Chiu Meng spoke up and said, "Zhu Hong said we're going to have a small competition. Just play with your classmates and you'll be ready to leave. I'll accompany you when the time comes." Is it that simple? It's just that simple. Qin Miao scratched his head and then sighed, "I always feel like you have something to do, but my mind is a bit confused now. Forget it, I'll just wait here. I shouldn't go out today. Is it uncomfortable to stay at home and play a few more CSGO games? I really can't play with LOL. If it's not enough, I'll go to the simulator to practice." What a sin. Looking at Qin Miao's fragmented thoughts over there, Chiu Meng had an impulse to reach out and suppress his upturned hair, but in the end, she didn't do anything and just sat beside Qin Miao silently listening to his complaints. The two of them sat quietly in place for about 10 minutes. After the initial excitement period, the students who were enjoying themselves on the track drove their cars back to the parking area one by one. Class monitor Zhu Hong also jumped off the double cart and smiled as he took off his helmet. Gently, he helped Fan Yu up from his position. After clapping his hands hard and attracting the attention of his classmates, Zhu Hong spoke up and asked, "Have you all experienced it?" The classmates all nodded and smiled. "Okay, since we're all familiar with the track, let's start today's small competition." End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Miao Qin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Miao Qin Ding, Detected Competition, Task. Milk Tiger Roaring Forest. The truly unparalleled genius has been shining on the world since the moment he sits in the driver's seat. Task Objective: to achieve victory in the competition. Reward: 1 random white lottery opportunity. Open the system lottery module. Note: if the task fails, the lottery system will lock it for 1 year. After all, this is a racing track, and playing with cars is all about speed. So after hearing Zhu Hong's greeting, all the classmates curiously gathered in front of him, waiting for Zhu Hong to explain the specific rules of the competition. Zhu Hong's popularity in the class is not only due to his handsome appearance and wealthy family, but also because he always prepared some fun and interesting activities for his classmates during their break time as class monitor. The rules of the game are very simple. 2 students form a group and drive a 2-seat go-kart together. The entire race consists of 10 laps. The first 5 laps are driven by the first person in the group, while the last 5 laps require a replacement. The group that finishes 10 laps first wins. Among the winning group members, the student who obtained the fastest circle can make a sincere and adventurous request to other students, which cannot be refused. The student in this group who did not win the fastest circle can choose between sincerity and great adventure, and have another student complete it, but they cannot refuse either. Also, if the group that did not win the first place has a faster speed than the teammate, the student also has the right to choose between sincerity and big adventure. Of course, this target is only limited to teammates in your group, so students must be cautious when choosing teammates. Of course, for the sake of fairness, the students who win first, sincerely speaking, and the target students of the big adventure can only participate in this activity. So do students have any further questions? Other classmates? I understand. Qin Miao. Qin Miao's system prompt and Zhu Hong's words sounded almost simultaneously. Qin Miao, whose mind was already in chaos, neither remembered the task content published by his system nor the rules mentioned by Zhu Hong. I only heard a rough idea. The class monitor held a 2-person race, running a total of 10 laps. In the 5th lap, they had to exchange drivers. If they won, Qin Miao didn't remember what would happen. The system task is to make him win the game, and the specific reward is the system's built-in lottery system and 1 lottery opportunity. To be honest, Qin Miao detests the lottery. Because he hasn't won anything good in such a big lottery, he really hasn't won a single one. If there is a thank you for your patronage, it is always a thank you for your patronage. If there is no thank you for your patronage, it is also the cheapest thing among them. Never unexpected. So Qin Miao doesn't care much about the rewards given by the system. Anyway, I won't get anything good from it. It doesn't matter if you lock this feature for a year, I don't need it anyway. There is no difference between having a chicken rib and not having a chicken rib for Qin Miao. And if it were in the past, even if the system didn't give Qin Miao any rewards, he wouldn't refuse this kind of competition. But now Qin Miao's heart is in turmoil and he can't get interested in anything. He only thinks that Zhu Hong is noisy. But Qiu Meng, who was beside Qin Miao, was full of enthusiasm and said, "Hey hey hey. Class monitor, I also want to sign up." As she spoke, Qiu Meng ran straight down. When Qiu Meng announced that she wanted to sign up, many male classmates also showed an eager expression. There is no doubt that they just want to be in the same group as Qiu Meng, but fortunately, after the game is over, they come to play an undeniable adventure. Although in the eyes of these young people, Qiu Meng is not as beautiful and good looking as Fan Yu. But in fact, Qiu Meng is also a very beautiful girl. Compared to Fan Yu, she only has a different appearance style. Faced with such a beautiful girl, there are naturally many teenagers in their adolescence who are emotionally ignorant and have hidden feelings for her. The racing event organized by class monitor Zhu Hong was originally intended to express his feelings to students who wanted to express their feelings, but he never found an opportunity or had the courage to speak up. So these students naturally became eager to try one by one. "Qiu Meng, do you have any teammates?" Zhu Hong asked. And many male classmates have already raised their ears, hoping to hear a negative answer from her mouth. However, in the end, Qiu Meng's answer disappointed them, but upon hearing the person mentioned by Qiu Meng, they felt a hint of relief on their faces. "Qin Miao, my anti-desk mate." Zhu Hong nodded, taking notes while curious, and asked, "What about this guy? He was just up there, wasn't he? Why didn't he see him on the field?" Qiu Meng said with a subtle expression, stimulated, "He is currently autistic, but rest assured that I can pull him back." Without much thought, Zhu Hong finished writing and said, "Okay, but don't go too far. The competition will start in 10 minutes. Come over as soon as we call you." Next group. After Qiu Meng finished naming, she returned to Qin Miao's side and sighed helplessly as she looked at Qin Miao who was wilting. "I regret it a bit now." Qin Miao remained silent. Qiu Meng said helplessly, "It's difficult to rest assured in your current state. What if you can't take it seriously while driving and crash me into the wall? I won't be at a loss. But now all the names have been reported. NT desk mate, let's discuss it. If you can't take it anymore, you can slow down. I won't stop you if you want to die, but can you please don't bring me with you?" Although Qin Miao has basically lost his interest in continuing to play cars at this moment, he has a good talent and a strong confidence in his racing ability with a systematic approach. Listening to Qiu Meng's distrust of herself, even though Qin Miao was lacking in interest at the moment, she still retorted, "How could it be? Have I ever run professional competitions in ACC? So the difficulty of control is much higher than that of a go-kart, and the one who can run professional competitions is not a top mentality. If I could flip the car over here and give you a bump in front of the whole class, high and low." Qiu Meng looked at Qin Miao and said, "Really? Give it a try then. Qin Miao. Let's go. Today, I'll show you what a professional athlete is. Don't worry, class monitor. They said the game won't start until 10 minutes later. But then again, why haven't you reacted to what I just said at all?" Qiu Meng poked Qin Miao's arm and said, "At least this is also a girl who voluntarily confessed to you. Isn't it appropriate for you to react so calmly? Am I a girl who doesn't want face?" Qin Miao rolled his eyes and said, I don't know you yet. If you really like me, my name Qin Miao will be written upside down. However, in the reward mentioned by Zhu Hong, if he runs faster than his teammates, he can offer a sincere adventure to his teammates, right? Speaking of which, Qin Miao, who was just a bit autistic, suddenly felt excited. After looking up and down at Xiu Meng, he thought to himself, should I choose to be honest or take a big adventure? How about a simpler one, called Daddy to listen? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Sure Ran, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Sure Ran. Xiu Meng originally thought she could maintain a relatively calm attitude and attend this gathering. When encountering unexpected events, she couldn't remain calm, but at least she could face them calmly. However, Qin Miao's unlucky appearance just shows that he is not afraid of a funeral, and he also feels a little distressed. But why does B's mouth just owe so much? Qin Miao. Go to hell. Without saying a word, Xiu Meng reached out and pinched a small piece of meat on Qin Miao's arm with her nails. Ao. Lying in bed, it hurts. Wrong, let go, Ao. With anger in her hand, Xiu Meng didn't hesitate at all. Qin Miao literally jumped up from the ground in pain. After jumping up, Xiu Meng naturally couldn't pinch Qin Miao's flesh, but her gaze towards Qin Miao remained unfriendly. Qin Miao vigorously rubbed the area where he was pinched while gasping for air. As for what? Isn't it just a joke? Is it necessary to hit so hard? After pinching Qin Miao, Xiu Meng felt a little more comfortable seeing his big reaction, but still warned, you can't joke around, be careful, I'll break your leg. Qin Miao pursed his lips and rubbed his arms as he sat next to Xiu Meng. However, with such an interruption, Qin Miao felt that his mood had improved a lot. If we really win, what are you planning to do with these demands? Qin Miao sat down and moved his buttocks away from Xiu Meng, asking. Although the class monitor said it's a true story after winning, we can't refuse the big adventure. But if you win and take this joke like game gamble to confess to someone, do you think others will agree to you? Think from another perspective, what would you think if someone treated your girlfriend like this, or if someone used such a joke to blackmail you? Xiu Meng answered off topic. She knew what Qin Miao was thinking when he asked this question, nothing more than to seize the last glimmer of elusive hope and confess to Fan Yu after winning the championship of this competition. Now that things have come to an end, don't think so much. Let it go. How can youth not leave some regrets? Xiu Meng turned back and forcefully pressed her hand on Qin Miao's dry hair, but it was not completely dry, rubbing his hairstyle in a mess. Qin Miao opened Xiu Meng's paws, but to be honest, Xiu Meng's words did dispel Qin Miao's last trace of luck. Suddenly, I felt a little melancholy. Qin Miao took a long breath and said, watching them play on TV, I should have had a cigarette at this time to adapt, and now that I have graduated, Lao Zhao can't control me anymore. After hearing this, Xiu Meng took out her phone without saying a word, entered Qin Miao's mother's phone number on the keyboard in front of Qin Miao, and called directly. Sleeping slot. The melancholy on Qin Miao's face instantly turned into fear. No, sister. I'm just joking, it won't happen. Although my mother usually doesn't care much about Qin Miao's personal life, even if Qin Miao stays at home playing games every day after the college entrance examination and stays up all night, she doesn't care as long as Qin Miao doesn't interfere with the main task. When encountering some principled issues, my mother really gets angry. Xiu Meng gave Qin Miao a sideways glance, but did not actually make the call. After Qin Miao accepted the call, she hung it up and then said in a serious and instructing tone, everyone is big and big now. They should have their own judgment and principles. If you don't touch something, you should never touch it. Hey, what you're saying is. Qin Miao nodded humbly. Let's not do it again. Let's go, get ready. After chatting for a while, Qin Miao felt that time was also around and went down to prepare for the competition. Xiao Meng also stood up and put away the tissue that was used as a cushion on the ground before catching up with Qin Miao. The two of them arrived downstairs, and Qin Miao threw the garbage in his pocket into the trash can before they arrived at the track. Xiao Meng looked at the two-seater go-karts and curiously asked Qin Miao, "Why don't these go-karts have seat belts?" Not only do double-seat go-karts lack safety belts, but those single-seat go-karts also lack safety belts. Qin Miao explained, this is because the center of gravity of these go-karts is not high, and they are all entertainment go-karts with relatively low speed. In addition, the short track makes it difficult to overturn, so seat belts are optional. And if you install a seat belt, you need a roll cage. They probably didn't come equipped with these because of cost considerations. Why is it necessary to have a roll cage for a seat belt? Qin Miao patiently explained, the seat of a go-kart is relatively low. If you don't have a roll cage, you tie your seat belt. If the car overturns, your entire body will be fixed on the car. When the car is turned upside down, your head will first come into contact with the ground, and the supporting structure will be your neck. Then, click. Now you know why this type of go-kart doesn't have a seat belt. I understand. Xiao Meng's eyes were full of such clarity. You know so much, NT desk mate. I might be happier if you don't add this last sentence. While chatting, the two had already arrived at the edge of the track, and many students had already boarded a double cart. Most of these students were in groups of one man and one woman. Of course, there are also cases where two male students and two female students form a group. You can choose a car. Qiumeng took a look and randomly ordered a No. 18 go-kart. Anyway, the appearance and paint of these cars look the same, and Qin Miao, a novice, can't understand the damage in tire wear, so he just follows suit. After putting on their own gear, the two of them came to the two-person go-kart. Who will come first? Without even thinking, Xiao Meng said, first, let me see if you, the so-called professionally sports driver, can work well in reality. Qin Miao doesn't mind either. Anyway, he doesn't care much about the outcome of this game. Now he still feels empty and just wants to finish the competition quickly and go back to play his game. Although Qin Miao's ideas may seem a bit escapist, you can't expect an 18-year-old child to have such high levels of consciousness and self-discipline. Okay. After agreeing, Qin Miao took the lead in sitting in the driver's seat. This type of double go-kart is actually created by adding a seat to the back of a single go-kart. The riding experience of the driver's seat is basically no different from that of a single-person go-kart. After Qin Miao sat down in the driver's seat, Xiao Meng also chuckled and sat down. Due to the restrictions of the go-kart, after Qiumeng sat down, her two straight and slender legs were placed on both sides of Qin Miao's body. Today, Xiao Meng was wearing a white pleated skirt and sports shoes. Her two fair thighs were placed on both sides of Qin Miao's body without any defense, making people want to reach out and try the feel. Qin Miao realized later that Xiao Meng's legs were quite attractive. The good figure of Xiao Meng in the past was all covered up by her spacious school uniform. All right. Sitting down and adjusting her position, Xiao Meng patted Qin Miao's helmet to indicate that she was ready. Although Qin Miao ran 10 laps before Xiao Meng and the others arrived, they used a single cart for those 10 laps. Although the current go-kart has the same tire engine frame as a single-person go-kart, the wheelbase is slightly longer and there is an additional person behind it, with a load of at least 70 pounds. Qin Miao needs to readjust to the feel of this car. Are you seated? Qin Miao asked before driving. Xiao Meng nodded and leaned her body back, grabbing the armrest in the back seat position. After receiving the signal, Qin Miao pressed the accelerator all the way down. Originally, Qin Miao had planned to follow the method of driving a single-person go-kart, quickly adjusting the body posture when the car slips after starting with floor oil, and driving out at the fastest speed. However, it is unclear whether it is due to an increase in wheelbase or because the Xiao Meng behind her is too heavy. This two-seater go-kart drove smoothly amidst the roar of the engine, without any signs of slipping. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Practical Master. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Practical Master, Tisk. Qin Miao let out a tsk, not sure if he was lamenting the poor power of the go-kart at this go-kart gym, or if he was criticizing the heavy weight of the Chilming in the back seat. The first lap was just a warm-up, and Qin Miao relied on the way he learned from the game to heat up the tires. As a pure and cute newcomer who has never been exposed to go-karts, Qin Miao has no idea that most of the tires used in entertainment go-karts are normal and do not require heating up. Only professional go-karts will use semi-hot melt tires or full hot melt tires. The first lap quickly came to an end, and when the last turn was made, Qin Miao pressed the accelerator to death and the engine began to roar. He and Chiu Meng were both squeezed into their seats. Taking turn 14, Qin Miao stabilized the steering wheel, passed through the starting point with full fuel, and leaned the body close to the right side of the track, preparing to enter turn 1. Turn 1 is a full-throttle left turn. Even if there were more people in the car, Qin Miao still managed to throw the car into the corner with his own lane and the decent grip of the tires. After passing turn 1, all the way to turn 2, where both turn 2 and turn 3 form a left turn. When Qin Miao took turn 2, he lightly braked to prepare to turn from the center line. However, Qin Miao had not yet adapted to the extra weight on the car, so he continued to apply the brakes according to the rhythm and braking points of a single go-kart. The result is that Qin Miao's go-kart pushed the head at this bend. Fortunately, the overall speed of this turn is still relatively slow, and Qin Miao also has the skills and responsiveness to handle it. Therefore, before the car collided with the tire wall, Qin Miao forcefully slowed down the speed and passed this turn from the outside road. After this mistake, Qin Miao's circle was quickly destroyed. However, he was originally here to practice, and Qin Miao didn't really care about his lap speed, so he continued to familiarize himself with the track. After leaving the bend, apply full oil to the fake bend 4, and then come to the U-shaped bend 5 with full oil. The classic method of turning both inside and outside is to apply a heavy brake before entering the corner, and then the front wheels step on the shoulder of turn 5 to turn. Following that was turn 6, which was a 90-degree left turn. Gently pressing the brake reduced the speed to 41 km per hour. After the left front wheel hit the shoulder of the road, he began to press the accelerator. Qin Miao also passed this turn perfectly. 7. Turn 8 is a combined S-turn, and as long as the timing is right, it is still easy to turn. However, the increased wheelbase and weight still make Qin Miao a bit uncomfortable. When taking 2 turns, Qin Miao walked a little too far on the line, but it didn't hurt much. Thanks to the recent rounds of practice, Qin Miao's understanding of this track has increased, and he has gradually become accustomed to the insufficient steering and weight of this go-kart with an increased wheelbase. Qin Miao completed the last few turns of the track at the fastest speed he could currently achieve. Basically, every bend behind Qin Miao's body is driven against the tire wall. Recently, there hasn't even been a 2 cm gap between the car body and the tire wall. After turning 8, turn 9 followed closely. Since the speed is not very fast after turning 8, you can simply rely on inertia to pass through turn 9 without stepping on the accelerator. If it was a single-seat go-kart, Qin Miao would start to run all the gas after this turn. After taking turn 9, you can move forward towards turn 10 with full fuel. Turn 10 is a high-speed turn, although it cannot be fully throttle like turn 1, just like turn 9, releasing the throttle can also directly throw the car into it with inertia. Turn 11 is a right turn at a 90-degree angle. Follow the normal path and enter the turn, then turn outside and inside again. After the 11th turn, the 12th and 13th turns are a combination of S-shaped turns, and Qin Miao has maintained the ability to grasp the timing when crossing the 7th and 8th turns, passing them extremely accurately. The basic method of passing through the outer and inner corners of the 14th turn is easy to pass through. Proficiency +1, current proficiency 12, although there were some flaws in this lap, for Qin Miao, he was quite satisfied with his performance. Considering that the car under his crotch was completely a new car he had never touched before, it was already a good achievement. However, Chiu Meng sitting in the back seat was a bit confused, not because she couldn't stand Qin Miao's aggressive driving style. She just doesn't understand. When did Qin Miao become so skilled in driving? Although Chiu Meng admits that Qin Miao is an absolute genius in the field of esports drivers, the kind that the heavens chase after and feed him. But his practical ability in reality is clearly not so strong. Before Chiu Meng could sort out her thoughts, Qin Miao continued to do a preparation circle before the flying circle. Still the same as the previous lap, Qin Miao fully fueled out of turn 14 and began his flying circle. Qin Miao immediately began to crazily explore on the edge of the limit in this circle. He is able to grab the turning point as much as possible in each turn and enter the bend at the best angle, keeping the braking point in mind. And Chiu Meng in the back seat was shocked to find that the iron sheet on the outer edge of the iron frame of the cart was rubbing against the tire wall of the cart yard several times when Qin Miao took a turn. Even when turning, she felt several vibrations when the iron sheet and tire wall were slightly scratched. She now suspects that her words are a prophecy. Qin Miao really wants to find a way out, and at the same time, she plans to hold herself back. However, in the end, what Chiu Meng was most worried about didn't happen. Although Qin Miao's driving style was a bit more aggressive, he was only testing it to the limit he could do. He also knew that there was someone behind his car, and he didn't know much about it, so he didn't dare to really exceed that limit. Just as Qin Miao was rushing through the line, a burst of cheerful music immediately echoed from the go-kart. All the students who were preparing were startled by the sudden sound, and when they turned their heads, they found that it was the horn that came with the go-kart. All the students on site were confused. What's wrong with this? Is the computer broken? The sleeping trough startled me, what's going on? Unlike the bewilderment of her classmates, the female boss upstairs and the coach maintaining order at the kart field below were both filled with astonishment and doubt. What's going on? Why did this record-breaking music suddenly sound? In fact, this kind of sound effect is specially designed for the go-kart. If someone breaks the record of the go-kart, then this sound effect will sound. But this music has not been played for nearly half a year, so even the boss and staff are a bit stunned when they suddenly hear this music. Then the two of them coincidentally arrived at the sidelines, wanting to see who the person who had just crossed the line was. Then they saw Qin Miao and Chiu Meng's two-person go-kart swaying into the bend of turn 2. And when the coach saw this, he showed a clear expression. It was that kid, so I said he came to pretend, right? It is normal to score in the top 20 for a single person and finish first on a double kart. You're still pretending, I can tell at a glance that you're not a beginner. The landlady breathed a sigh of relief when she saw Qin Miao breaking the record with a double kart. Although she was also happy to see someone break their kart records, today's order was different. The ticket Zhu Hong bought today is a chartered ticket, which belongs to the type where one ticket directly covers the entire venue. If Qin Miao breaks the record, she will work for nothing this morning and have to waive all the tickets. Fortunately, there are regulations at the go-kart hall, and the no-go rule only applies to single-seater go-karts. Two-seater go-karts are more entertaining, and no one will take this two-seater go-kart for lap time. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Games and Reality. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Games and Reality. Sitting on the go-kart, swaying and preparing to return to the parking area to change her position, Qin Miao, who was also practicing with Chiu Meng, also heard the sudden singing. What's wrong with this? Autumn Meng swallowed her saliva with lingering fear, although the speed of Qin Miao's lap just now was not too fast, and this entertainment cart couldn't run very fast. But the visual impact and fear of death instinct that every bend Qin Miao wished to hit directly at the corner still made Chiu Meng's heart beat faster and her breathing faster. I don't know, but now I'm very responsible and I really regret being with you. Can you stop driving in such a radical style? What if something really happens? Qin Miao blinked. Is his driving style radical? Upon closer reflection, Qin Miao realized that Chiu Meng was right. After all, unlike those professional drivers who had been playing go-karting since childhood, Qin Miao came from an esports driver background. They who play simulators are different from those who play real cars. Those who play emulators are not afraid of death, and those who drive are not afraid of collisions. The most prominent aspect of driving is a life-threatening experience. When Qin Miao was playing with the simulator, he was also a contestant who liked to drive his car towards a dead end. So when he got used to the feel and speed of real cars, Qin Miao instinctively brought his driving habits in the simulator into reality. Scratching his face, Qin Miao tentatively asked, "Then I'll be a little more restrained during the competition later." Without much thought, Chiu Meng shook her head and said, "You just need to run normally. Anyway, the speed of this go-kart is not too fast, it just looks scary. In the competition, everyone wants to come first." The two of them chatted all the way back to the parking area. Qin Miao was originally thinking of changing seats with Chiu Meng to familiarize her with the track, but before they could get off the car, they were surrounded by their classmates. "Wow, Qin Miao! You have even broken the fastest double kart lap at this go-kart hall. Miao Gu is amazing. You're quite good at hiding, I never knew you could drive so well before. Qin Gu. Is there a missing pendant on my thigh? Do you think it's suitable for me?" Qin Miao, who had just got off the car, was still a bit confused. How could these people be so enthusiastic about themselves? Through their words, Qin Miao finally sorted out the causes and consequences of this matter. "As I practiced in my own practice circle, I broke the lap speed record at the kart hall, even though it was only a double kart lap speed record and did not count as a reward." Even if Qin Miao knew that a large part of the reason she was able to break the record was because she and Chiu Meng were both relatively light in weight. "Although I am 172, my weight is only over 90. Although Chiu Meng looks tall, in reality, this girl only has a good proportion of body shape and is relatively thin, so visually it gives a feeling of being tall. However, in reality, this girl only looks 155, and her weight is approximately in the range of 70.80. So the weight of Qin Miao's two-seater go-kart is small, coupled with his good talent, it is reasonable for him to break a record for a two-seater go-kart. And the record for the fastest lap time of a two-person go-kart is separate from the record for the fastest lap time of a single-person go-kart. No one at this go-kart gym has ever set a lap time record for this two-person go-kart. In Qin Miao's view, although breaking this record was unexpected, it was not impossible. A record that nobody cared about was broken, and there was nothing special about it. But his classmates don't think so. A person you spend time with day and night suddenly becomes unfamiliar to you, and they suddenly have a talent that you never noticed before. This kind of change inevitably makes people curious, and everyone wants to go up and ask what the situation is. At this moment, Qin Miao encountered this situation, and his classmates surrounded him asking endless questions. Many female classmates cast curious glances at Qin Miao. Why didn't they realize this guy had the ability to do this before? Watching Qin Miao take off his helmet amidst the crowd of male classmates, many girls were amazed. They hadn't noticed before, but upon closer inspection, Qin Miao's appearance was surprisingly good. Qin Miao, who was caught up in the praises and exclamations of his classmates, did not have much psychological fluctuation. Apart from subconsciously searching for Fan Yu in the crowd, all he thought about was when the competition would start. After the competition, he can go home and play games. He is not planning to go out again this summer. "Qin Miao, you're a bit unkind," Zhu Hong walked over with a smile on his face. "Your performance is not something that ordinary people can achieve, and you humbly told me that it's your first time encountering a go-kart. I haven't seen you play here before. Where did you practice driving?" Let me introduce you, and I'll also take some time to practice driving. Zhu Hong's words may seem like ordinary greetings and exclamations, but they subtly conveyed a message to the students gathered around the scene. Qin Miao was able to achieve such impressive results, but when he just communicated with Zhu Hong, he said it was his first time encountering a go-kart. At the same time, instill in his classmates the impression that Qin Miao has already played with go-karts, but he doesn't say he has to come here to pretend to be coerced. Although students in this age group have not yet fully entered society, their thoughts are relatively simple. But this does not affect the students at this time to have a certain level of self-awareness and judgment, and to be able to analyze some hidden information from the words of others. So many of the classmates who were still surrounded by Qin Miao with curious faces, after hearing Zhu Hong's words, the curiosity and excitement in their eyes faded a lot. Of course, this is only a part, and most of them are female classmates. The vast majority of male classmates are still heartless. After hearing the class monitor's words, they become even more curious. Sleeping slut Qin Miao, you are not honest. Tell me. Where did you practice? The coach introduced me and I will also practice. Are you his mother blind? Isn't there a ready-made one? Brother Miao, teach me something later. It's up to you whether I can win my desk mate today. At this point, the other classmates immediately started to cheer up. Lao Kong, are you trying to win? Are you learning some skills from Qin Miao to confess to Qi Qi? Oh. Really, Lao Kong? Get lost. Upon hearing someone cheering, the classmates who were originally gathered around Qin Miao immediately started cheering along. Qin Miao explained helplessly when she saw her classmates showing signs of being unable to hold on, I'm not joking. This is really my first time playing go-kart. You think I drive fast mainly because I often play race car simulators on the computer, so I have some experience in controlling the wiring and braking points. Moreover, the weight of these two kart drivers accounts for a large proportion, and neither Chiu Meng nor I are fat, so we run faster. But upon hearing his explanation, his classmates became even more enthusiastic. They are all young people, although not everyone likes to play computer games like Qin Miao, most male classmates still enjoy playing games. And for them, games may just be a form of entertainment, and now there is a living example around them that uses the skills in games to play a role in reality. This can arouse the curiosity of the students, and they all gathered around to ask. Qin Miao, do you think there is any difference between playing games and driving in real life? Is it difficult to drive in games or in reality? I want to improve my driving skills in real life. Is it effective to practice in games? End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Simulators and Reality. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Simulators and Reality. Qin Miao listened to her classmates' questions and didn't know how to answer them for a moment. How to say this? Qin Miao knows what games his classmates usually play. Most people play mobile games, while a small portion use computers to play games. They also play online games, such as games like LOL or CF, which are more entertaining. Qin Miao couldn't explain to them the difference between ACC, a racing game, and Need for Speed, a racing game. Because Qin Miao had tried before, after explaining for a while, the person across from him would be very puzzled and say, aren't they all driving? At that time, Qin Miao knew that this thing was destined to be a very niche hobby. Since then, Qin Miao has stopped wasting his breath on this and naturally didn't bother to talk to his classmates. However, facing the curious and exploratory gaze of his classmates, Qin Miao hesitated for a moment and finally reluctantly answered their questions patiently one by one. After all, the classmates have no ill intentions towards Qin Miao, they are just purely curious. Yes, there is a big difference between driving in reality and driving in games. The only similarity may be the choice of braking points and the control of turning time. I'm not very sure about this, and I haven't driven that kind of professional racing car in real life before. It's not my boast. This is really my first time driving in real life. I feel that driving a go-kart in real life is a bit easier than in games. After all, a go-kart only has a brake, accelerator, and steering wheel, so there's no need to shift gears frequently. Sure, but the only emulators on the market that I know of are those from the Kamikaze Kosha series, which is a bit better. However, the threshold for getting started with this game is too high, and the keyboard is basically impossible to play. If you want to play, you still need to buy professional equipment. ACC is ultimately a realistic racing simulator, just referred to as a game. Although it can reduce the difficulty, Qin Miao is required by the organizers to have all the assists turned off during the race. Therefore, apart from the difference in physical sensation, Qin Miao's race is the same as a real race. ACC can be considered a professional racing simulator, and can even be used as a substitute for training. Of course, ACC is not the pinnacle of emulators. The pinnacle of racing simulators is the simulators developed by major F1 teams. ACC's cars are all calibrated through cooperation between the official and automotive companies, and everything is focused on being close to reality. But you cannot make any further modifications on the basis of the car, which means that the car has already been locked, and you can only make limited adjustments. The F1 team simulator for driver training needs to be simulated based on the team's real-time upgrade of the car. For example, after the end of a certain station, the fleet engineering department came up with a new upgrade plan. They upgraded the rear wing of the car, reducing resistance while increasing the rear downforce of the car. The team's simulator can simulate the actual performance of the upgraded racing car based on the test data. And when drivers enter the simulator to practice, they can also feel the specific changes brought about by these upgrades through the simulator. This can also help drivers better understand their vehicles. Of course, this also has a prerequisite: not all team simulators can achieve this. Simulations for large teams such as Ferrari, Mercedes-Benz, and Red Bull are very effective because they cost a lot of money and have backup drivers who can help the team upgrade and improve their simulators during their training. And the simulators of teams like Williams and Haas can basically achieve 70% simulation, which is already very good. Simulators are really important. After all, the 3 practice sessions before the start of the main race were not enough for the driver to adapt to their vehicle and track. So there is still a gap between ACC and the simulators used by F1 teams themselves. Of course, there is not as much difference as in simulated GOAT and DCS World. After chatting for a while, Zhu Hong's expression was not very good and he called the students who were preparing to participate in the competition onto a double cart. He came up to Qin Miao with a strange expression and said, "You also need to work hard." Qin Miao was somewhat puzzled by Zhu Hong's words. But besides that, Qin Miao had no extra feelings because he didn't even know how to look at people's faces, and he couldn't hear the strange tone in Zhu Hong's tone. Originally, Qin Miao was not a very observant person. When he noticed that someone's expression was not good, he would at most feel that they were in a bad mood or feeling unwell. Now he feels a little melancholy and autistic about Fan Yu's situation, and is even more lazy to care about others. He just wants to go home and lie down quickly. So at this moment, Qin Miao was calm and unaffected by Zhu Hong's strange energy. Zhu Hong noticed Qin Miao's unmoved expression, his eyes twitched, and his eyebrows furrowed even deeper. I hope this guy won't affect his plans. Zhu Hong thought this way and got on a double cart with Fan Yu. The competition is about to start soon. I moved my body on the ground for a while, but due to the delay just now, Qin Miao didn't have a chance to let Xiao Meng try the feel of this go-kart. Under the coach's greeting, the two pushed their cars onto the grid in the departure area. There are a total of 18 people and 9 cars participating in this competition today. Due to the absence of qualifying matches, the ranking of positions emphasizes a first-come, first-served approach. Qin Miao and Xiao Meng are in a relatively average position, ranking 5th. And Zhu Hong pushed his go-kart out of the parking area early, so his position was ranked 1st. After all, it was all his money that came here to play, so there is no objection to his position among the classmates. You come on with the first round, I'll be responsible for the back part. After getting to the go-kart, Qin Miao said to Chiu Meng, you just calm down during the race later, it's okay to run slower, just run 5 laps safely. You don't have to worry about anything later. Leave it to me. Chiu Meng asked with some concern, what if I drive too slowly and leave too much behind? Qin Miao gave Chiu Meng a strange look and said, I'm just here to pass the time. After the competition, I'll leave. If I fall behind, I'll fall behind. That's right. Chiu Meng nodded clearly. Later, just as Qin Miao was preparing to sit in the back seat of the go-kart, Chiu Meng came to Qin Miao and carefully checked whether the helmet on his head was properly worn. Qin Miao was taken aback for a moment, then curiously asked, are you so lacking in confidence in your driving skills? Are you afraid of causing me death? Chiu Meng. Trying to control her impulse to hit someone, Chiu Meng gritted her back teeth and tightened the nylon strap around Qin Miao's neck, then sat silently in the driver's seat of the two-person go-kart. Qin Miao also didn't notice that Chiu Meng's condition was not right. After Chiu Meng sat down, he got into the back seat. The go-kart was already ignited by the coach when it arrived at the grid, and now 9 go-karts are waiting on the grid. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Start of competition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Start of competition. The students who did not participate in this competition went to the rest area on the second floor to watch. Although the preparation area downstairs is close to the racetrack, the second floor has a better view and a platform that allows the audience to overlook the entire track. And in the competition, the students who used to spend time with each other day and night were all classmates, which suddenly gave the students watching upstairs a strange feeling. Most of the people who didn't participate in the competition are girls, and in addition, our relationships are usually good. So when the students were preparing below, these girls contributed their greatest enthusiasm and cheered on the students below. Of course, as the class monitor, Zhu Hong received the most encouragement. And most of the male classmates went down to participate in the competition. After all, it was a free opportunity to go karting, and there were also irresistible bets. Male classmates who were naturally active would definitely not miss this opportunity. The cheers and cheers from the stage were heard by the drivers below. Although they were all wearing helmets and there was engine noise around, the cheers from the students on stage were louder. Although this race was a last-minute event and there was not much pre-race preparation, as the manager of the karting rink, the coach carefully checked the condition of each car and whether there were any substandard equipment worn by the students before the race began. After all the preparation work was completed, the departure lights hanging above the departure area were activated. During the training, he explained to his classmates that if a go-kart race is to be held here, the departure signal is to start when the red light goes out. Moreover, the extinguishing time of this departure light is artificially controlled, and there is no possibility of prediction. After confirming that everyone was ready, the coach turned on the power switch of the departure light, and a row of 5 red lights hanging from the ceiling lit up. Although Qin Miao thought more about finishing the race and playing games at home, the aftermath of the simulated race still made Qin Miao instinctively reach forward with his left foot when he saw these 5 red lights, wanting to step on the clutch and prepare for departure. After reaching out with his left foot and not stepping on anything, Qin Miao realized that he was the one sitting in the car now. However, after the 5 red lights in front of him went out, Qin Miao, who had fully integrated into the current environment, instinctively wanted to start in his most comfortable way. When Qin Miao realized again that she was not the driver, Chiu Meng remained still in place. After about half a second, Chiu Meng and her classmate started driving together in the starting car. In fact, Chiu Meng's reaction time is not slow, and compared to other classmates, she is also at the middle level. However, Qin Miao is a professionally sports player who can run professionally. The reaction speed can be said to be the fastest among all students. That's why Qin Miao reacted and even stepped on the gas pedal, while Chiu Meng and the others hadn't reacted yet. Qin Miao's reaction speed is about 50 milliseconds faster than Chiu Meng's. But in the end, Chiu Meng still drove the car out, but a mediocre start meant that Chiu Meng couldn't bring any advantage to their group in the early stages. Everyone is classmates and doesn't have as much theoretical knowledge as Qin Miao and Zhu Hong, so everyone drove politely when entering the first turn. After turning 1, everyone lined up in a straight line. After arriving here, Qin Miao relaxed and leaned back in his seat. Because Chiu Meng drives very smoothly, even in a go-kart. And the driving skills of the classmates are also very average, making it difficult to overtake and to be overtaken by others, so a small train formed behind them. However, there is an anomaly here, which is Zhu Hong. Zhu Hong is already starting from the pole position. Although his skills may not be comparable to those of professional athletes, compared to his classmates, Zhu Hong can surpass them by more than 2 seconds in each lap. So the students watching above can see that Zhu Hong gradually distanced himself from the students behind at a very obvious speed. And as the number of laps increases, the gap between the two sides becomes larger and larger. After finishing 5 laps, Zhu Hong's group and the second-placed classmates separated by a terrifying distance of half a lap. Quickly finishing 5 laps, the students returned to the parking area to change people. Zhu Hong was the first to enter, but due to his significant advantage, the second-ranked student only drove his car into the parking area after Zhu Hong drove his car back to the parking area to change people and Fan Yu drove it out. Chiu Meng's driving skills can only be described as average, so when they switched to Qin Miao, their positions did not change and they still ranked 5th. After the two of them drove into the parking area, they quickly changed positions. Sitting in the driver's seat, adjusting the seat under his buttocks, Qin Miao immediately stepped on the gas and rushed out. After that, there was actually nothing to say. Although Qin Miao was just a player who could run esports competitions on a simulator, his practical skills were very weak. But they are driving a go-kart. The speed of the entertainment go-kart itself is not fast, and if there are more people in the car, the speed is even slower. Qin Miao is still very relaxed when driving, and coupled with the average skills of his classmates, what he presents is a one-sided massacre. Perhaps on the straight road, the students in front of Qin Miao can still maintain the gap with Qin Miao, but when it comes to a bend, Qin Miao can quickly shorten the distance with the front car at a visible speed. Both sides are not at the same level in the details of turning. Qin Miao easily used his cutting and wiring skills to enter and exit corners at a faster speed than his classmates, and then ate the students in front of him raw on the straight path at a faster speed. When Qin Miao was killing in all directions below, a look of surprise flashed on the face of the boss lady who was leaning on her chest and watching the excitement. Just now, when Qin Miao broke through her fastest double go-kart lap at the karting lot, she was playing with her phone and didn't observe how Qin Miao drove properly. She originally thought that Qin Miao was able to break the fastest lap at the go-kart purely because he was young, lightweight, and the lap speed was unmatched. But now, upon observation, the landlady realized that Qin Miao really has the skills to carry on. Although his driving style has become more aggressive, his control over go-karts is very meticulous. Although this is just an entertainment kart and the handling difficulty is not high, such a delicate and radical handling style is not something that an ordinary student can possess. Recalling that my employee had just talked to me about Qin Miao, the female boss's face showed a thoughtful expression. But looking back on the Qin Miao she saw when she came to open the door in the morning, as well as Qin Miao's shy expression when she saw her, the female boss had her own judgment. And speaking of which, at the end of the day, Qin Miao was just a guest who came here to play. His specific plans had nothing to do with him. The female boss shook her head helplessly at the thought of this and continued to watch the game with great interest. Now she is a little curious, is 5 laps enough time for this seemingly talented child to catch up with the first place? End of this chapter.